Recently, I've had a lot of mentees ask me about what successful people do and how they can get into those ranks. And so it's a really important subject. And I wanted to take some time, and I actually wrote some notes down so I could remember what I wanted to say on this, because it is that important. But the uncensored truth about not taking action. And there's a whole lot of reasons for that. But I want to go through an explanation on that, and then what you can do to do differently if you're not making the progress that you want to make. So the first is, let's cut to the fluff on this. If you're stuck in research mode, looking for more information, wondering, if this is successful, if the industry is successful, or whether your scripts are going to work, that is a decision. It's a decision to keep researching as opposed to not taking action. And that decision has consequences. So let's look at a reality check on that. Most people fail not because they did something wrong, that's part of the process, but they usually fail because they didn't take action. They didn't really try. And oftentimes that is based in fear, and it masquerades on, I need more time, I need to prepare better, I need to study this again. But that's not true, is that you're really choosing comfort over the actions that will get you there and your goals. So comfort over your goals. So what are the hard truths around this? First, opportunities don't wait. Sellers move on, money dries up, deals vanish. Every day that you are hesitating, someone else is doing all those things with those sellers, with those board members, with those banks, with those prospects that would get them to doing a deal. And by hesitating, those pass. I remember the story of a mentee who talked to a seller. She said, yeah, that's a really good idea. I think, why don't you give me a little time to think about it and call me in 3 weeks? And he forgot. And he called in, I think it was 6 weeks or 7 weeks, when he finally remembered about calling her. And he said to her, do you still want to have a discussion about selling the business? And she said, no, you really opened my eyes. And in the time since we last talked, I've acquired 2 businesses. Now, she was in the business, she had a bunch of contacts. That was reasonably easy for her to do compared to a lot of people. But look at that situation. He hesitated because he forgot. She took action in the same time frame. When he followed up, the opportunity was gone, and she had closed 2 deals. So just remember that. He's later gone on to learn from that lesson, certainly. But the real cost of inaction is that time is lost, experience is lost, and that compounds to progress being lost. So I think that not acting is what I wrote here, the slowest, most painful way to fail. 6 months from now, where will you be? Will you either be ahead and have closed deals or board members or get your team squared away? Or will you be still explaining why you're not there? And all of us have procrastinated. What we do as a result of that and learn, like that example I gave you, is important. So, what could you do as an action step? So reach out to 5 sellers today or board members, whatever. Don't wait to do another podcast binge. Listening to this one would be important, but don't keep scrolling through things. Do it today. Pick up the phone, write a letter, send an email, whatever that is, have a conversation. Do it today, not tomorrow. But you don't need more motivation, probably. You have your why, you know why you're doing this. Hopefully it's important to you, but you do need to move. And you can either stay comfortable or you can get what you wanted, what you set as your goals, but you can't get both. So I would encourage you to think about this. Think about the actions that you have or haven't taken. think about what you can do to change those habits. But most of the time when I talk to people, they comment, well, I'm uncomfortable doing this. I'm not ready to do it. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And what I say to them is that you are going to fail. Absolutely. That's part of the process. But failure is not final unless you accept it as that. Think of it as temporary defeat from which you'll learn. When we learned to walk, we fell down. Any sport you played in the beginning, unless you're a rare individual, you weren't very good at it. You got better in time. The same thing is true here. Board members frequently, people are scared to death to talk to big hitters. They don't believe it, but in the end they do. Those are some of the easiest calls you will make, because those people aren't going to ask you where you're going to get the money. They might ask your financing plan, but where you're going to get the money, you don't have any experience in this, it's not going to work, et cetera, et cetera. The big hitters know the capital finds good ideas, that you're smart enough to put a team again around you, and as a result of that, you're looking at your talents, thinking what you need in a team. Teams get things done, and therefore they're more focused on why this is important to you. What are you going to do differently than everybody else that's in this space, et cetera, et cetera. And the mentees usually come back and say, you're right. Those were some of the easiest calls. The low-level ones were all these questions about why it's not going to work, as opposed to focusing why it will work. So, hope this is helpful. I hope you take action today. If you don't know what to do, I had this in a group call yesterday where the person was asking me about the steps. Go over and get the Acquisition Advantage Bootcamp, the 2025 edition I updated. You will know the steps, you'll know the scripts. I just read an email today about how a person I've never met bought the course and secured what he thinks is a super chairman and used the scripts and templates, and they were successful. So all of that helps. Get focused on why you're doing this, get focused on taking action, and don't worry about some of the things won't work out. I'll let you in on a clue. Some of the things won't work out, but if you do enough of it, they will indeed work out. As Ross Perot was once told by the chairman of IBM, if you want to double your success rate, double your failure rate. More action is the key.